So 2017 marked a slew of announcements by some of the top tech players in the market, all jumping into the AR game in a big way. Facebook announced their AR platform. Google made a big splash at their I/O event with WorldSense, an AR and VR tracking system. And Apple just recently at WWDC launched the AR Kit, a first step towards a major play in augmented reality. There are plenty of rumors also about the fact that the iPhone 8, the next iPhone, will introduce even more augmented reality capabilities. And DigiCapital predicts that mobile AR will top 1 billion users by 2021, not so far from our goal. So the big players are all vying in for dominance. You could say that the war on AR is on. For me, it all started a while back. I went on a stage in a small town in Austria and made this insane prediction. It was my first presentation about AR, but I had this bold vision. I said, in 10 years, everyone will use AR to experience reality in a more meaningful way. In 10 years, that would be 2019, a year depicted in science fiction movies such as Blade Runner, Akira, Heat Seeker, The Road, and of course, Dopo la caduta di New York. All dystopia galore, which can only be avoided if we all use AR to experience reality in a more meaningful way. So that was the vision back then. And the mission became to join forces with other players in the industry, which were very few at the time, and nurture a healthy industry by connecting, educating, and accelerating. Hence, augmentedreality.org was born. And I think the mission is well on its way. If you look at this chart, you see hundreds of companies innovating on every layer of the ecosystem. This is an AR landscape that we published with 350 AR companies currently playing in the market. And there's tremendous opportunity on the input and output layer in the bottom of this chart, sensing the world so that humans can actually act on it. Sensors that can tell you not just where you are and what's in front of you, but can empower you to see through walls, to see temperature, maybe see electricity, sense subtle movements and gestures, haptics, even see veins through your skin. Sensors plus AR can really give superpowers to the people. But how soon will this actually happen and come to market? When will everyone use augmented reality to experience reality in a more meaningful way? So let's start with the end game. At some point in the future, there will be an inflection point where more smart glasses are sold than smartphones. That's a pretty tall order given the fact that smartphones are selling billions right now. But if you think about it, it took smartphones 10 years to get from 0 to 1 billion shipments. And if history teaches us anything, is that these adoption cycles only accelerate over time. It will be faster for smart glasses. And we estimate that the inflection point will happen probably within the next 7 years, so before the mid-2020s. Where do I get that conviction? Well, it's because it's in our bones. The need to interact with the real world. Hunching over a smartphone and bumping into things is not natural. I think we'll look back at this in a few years and it will look really awkward. And it makes us humans better at anything we do. It really gives superpowers to the people. But I think what will drive the adoption more than anything else is the following. When your glass-wearing workmates, playmates, or classmates perform better than you, can you afford not to wear? I think this is happening much quicker than we thought. It's happening as we speak. But what is AR, really? It's obviously about overlaying information on the real world. It could be done on a smartphone, it could be using projection and 3D mapping, or you could use smart glasses. But we like to think about it in a broader sense, that even augmented sound and other senses could be part of this augmented reality experience. We tend to talk about AR and VR in the same breath, but they're really used very differently, at least at this point. VR blocks your reality and transports you into a different world, whereas AR keeps you in reality and only augments it with additional information. So you still have situational awareness, you see people around you, the things that are in front of you. And we believe that's the reason that smart glasses and AR will take a much bigger part of this circle, because it's more natural, and because I think people prefer to be in reality, at least most of the time. So here's a selection of some of the smart glasses currently in the market. I'm sure all of you have heard about Google Glass and HoloLens, and maybe a couple of others. But the amazing fact is that for the first time, there are over 40 smart glasses currently in the market. And this year, more and more people are starting to get a taste of these superpowers, and they want more. But some are raising concerns about the implications of these technologies. Are people going to use it for the wrong reasons? Ray Kurzweil has an iconic quote about this. By the way, whatever he's doing to extend his life is definitely working. This is a photo taken 2 years ago, and this is a photo took just recently. I don't know, it might be the hair. But anyway, the people concerned with the use of those superpowers, he says, every technology since fire has intertwined promise and peril, right? Makes sense. So I ask you in this room, let's call you the super sensors. What do you choose, promise or peril? Seriously, I'm asking you.
Promise.
Promise, of course, promise. We choose promise, and we want to use these superpowers to change the world. Seriously, I think humanity is facing some big growing pains. Overpopulation, globalization challenges, inequality, lack of empathy, and of course, dopo la caduta di New York. And we can fight these dystopian outcomes by augmenting reality. We can drive economic growth by improving human productivity and efficiency, and helping upskill workers whose jobs have been commoditized by automation. I want to start the examples with a really old demo, still one of my favorites. It's called Augmented Pool. There's a projector and camera, a Kinect camera on top, that detects the position of the balls and the angle of the cue, and shows you the ideal angle to hit the ball into the hole every single time. It's amazing. Every novice player can come in and immediately master the game. And when you think how we can apply this to anything we do in life, work or games or studying, it gives you a sense of how it can really revolutionize everything that we do. So imagine what this could do to help you learn a job. And actually, you don't have to imagine.
A full-size visual guidance system.
Light guide systems does that today.
Tasks while collecting real-time data.
It actually detects the information, the things on the table, and helps you assemble electronic boards or other things in a step-by-step approach.
Flexible and portable, all-in-one solution on the market, making it the best tool to improve quality
It gives you step-by-step instructions, understands what you're doing. It also collects data so that the supervisor can see information across the board. And you can think about what it does to a new worker that comes in first few days. You don't have to go through long periods of training. You can almost do just-in-time training on the job itself. Here's another example in logistics by DHL, created by UBMax. It's warehouse order picking, which is a very common use case for augmented reality and for smart glasses. First of all, your hands are free, so you can take boxes and the camera will detect information on the box and immediately reflect that in the instructions and update the backend system. It will tell you, in this case, in which tray you have to put it so that you make less mistakes, and the whole process is much faster. In this study, they demonstrated that about 10 or 15 workers that use this system were 20 to 25% faster and more productive, which means saving a lot of money, also means less errors, and overall, the whole process is much more productive. And now we're starting to move to larger deployments since the pilots were so successful. Here's another example from Boeing. It's software built by Upskill, and it's manufacturing. One of the most common use cases in manufacturing, it's about assembly of wiring for the Boeing airplanes. By the way, Boeing is where the term augmented reality was coined in the 1990s. But again, you see in the corner of your eye, step-by-step approach of how to put this really complex wiring, and it's saving a lot of time and reducing errors. And here, just to compare side by side, Upskill did this comparison between a user doing some wiring job in the traditional way with manuals, what you can see on the left, and on the right, it's the same guy with smart glasses. You can see that initially there isn't a big difference, but then gradually when it gets gets into the groove, it becomes much faster and faster. The guy still keeps looking at the manual to understand what to do. The guy with the smart glasses keeps going, and finishes it, in this case, 34% faster with the smart glasses. So think about what this could do to help upskill new workers in the age of automation, where many workers may find themselves out of a job. This can actually help them get into new jobs very, very quickly. AR can also help democratize access to knowledge. Think about it, anyone, anywhere, with just smart glasses and internet connection could get access to the world's best information resources and experts right there in their field of view. So I want to start with a really simple example here. It's created by UC Davis University. It's literally a sandbox with, again, a projector and a Kinect camera on top that detects the height of the sand that you create with your hands and projects on top of it different colors depending on the topography. Any kid, I've seen kids, 3, 4 years old, come to it and immediately understand what to do. It's super intuitive. It's very interactive. And you can also learn about many things, in this case about topography. And one of the coolest things is you can actually drop virtual water in your creation and see how it flows in the creek that you just created. Now, what if I'm traveling in a foreign country and I can't understand anything, the signs, the menus? There are some cool applications like this Waygo application that allows you to point to a menu in Chinese and it immediately translates that into English. So all of a sudden, if in the past I used to be lost in such an area, I would have to have a translator, because I can't even type on my mobile phone anything that I see around, right? Here I just point to signs, to menus, and I immediately understand what's going on. When I travel, I use it over 100 to 150 times per day, and that makes me really happy and feel like I'm more connected. And here's a maintenance use case. It's a WorkLink by Scope AR. and it enables anyone to learn how to maintain this specific pump. You can see that there's no barrier language, there's no skills, almost no skills required. All the information is right there, guiding you step by step on how to hold it, how to use different tools. And it's a perfect way to allow people, whether you're at work or maybe at home trying to fix a machine, to be able to achieve that without needing to go through manuals or learning. And it's obviously much better than just watching YouTube videos, which I think a lot of us are doing these days. Next example is by SAP and Vuzix. It's also one of the most common use cases with smart glasses. It's called a field service technician. So you're out there in an unknown environment. The AR system first helps you find where the problem is, then detects what's going on, and pulls information from thousands of manuals that is relevant for the problem at hand. Again, your hands are free, so you can perform the task, fix the problem based on the instructions, and in no time, you can get the system back up, and the light for the stadium in this scenario is back up much faster than normal. And then if you have some additional challenges, you could have an expert in the back office see whatever you're seeing through the camera and help you resolve additional problems that maybe the manuals can't. And that's huge. Think about how many service technicians can one expert support without the need to fly to all these locations. That's bring this knowledge, this expertise to many more people and places around the world. Now, what if we apply this remote expert assistance technique for health? With AR, healthcare experts can use computer vision and smart glasses to treat patients in remote areas and lift health levels across the world. Here's a great example, a real example from a team that is trying to achieve that.
In global health, mobile technologies are revolutionizing how we diagnose and treat children and adults. And in surgery, it has incredible potential for training purposes, for mentoring surgeons in low resource areas, and for improving communication. I can think of at least 3 potential applications for Google Glasses in a mission type of experience. The first is to link surgeons in low resource settings with mentors in other settings to help them through diagnosis, referral, surgical planning, and all of those needs. That it's very helpful to be able to see a patient. In the operating room is a wonderful application to be able to link a trainee to a mentor, so that if there are questions during an operation, one can figure out about incisions or alternative surgical approaches. And in a training environment, being able to have a mentor teach a procedure to one or many surgeons in remote settings is a great way to transfer knowledge when direct communication is impossible. My goal in working with MKI in Guatemala is to make my presence here obsolete.
And that's really the key. Once we have this capability, this doctor and many others can stay in one position and serve many countries, many people by teleporting basically their expertise on locations. You could have a nurse or maybe even just a guy with smart glasses helping to treat a person where typically you can get this kind of expertise. Here's another great example
anywhere at the point of care.
that gives a true superpower to nurses.
Fast, accurate, and precise. No more guessing which vein is best.
This is viewed through the glasses. You can actually see the veins under the skin.
No more help required from multiple members of the medical team.
You never miss
and
an
no more
IV.
wondering if the vein has been appropriately accessed without extravasation or infiltration. With eyes-on glasses.
That's in health. Now let's go into another big area, collaboration and empathy. With AR, obviously like-minded people around the world can collaborate and solve issues as if they're in the same room. Using sensors, it allows to communicate also emotions in that process, something that we didn't really have before. And once you start communicating emotions between team members in a collaboration, it can increase empathy. So here's first an example by Microsoft
in a similar
Research
capture rig somewhere else in our lab.
using HoloLens.
She's going to holoport into my space, and I'm going to interact with her wearing my HoloLens.
So obviously they're not in the same room.
I'm coming home very soon.
You can see on the bottom left, there, it's the actual view in HoloLens, how the parent would see the kid in this case. Of course, this is still in research and it's kind of a special setup, but we can see how this can become reality very soon. The next example shows how AR in combination with sensors can improve empathy. Think about it, when people collaborate over the phone or Skype or FaceTime, many social cues are still lost, so you don't exactly know what's happening on the other side. So here's an experiment that shows how collaboration can improve in achieving goals when you have additional sensors like tracking your gaze or your face expression or even your heart rate.
Greater, and they're trying to collaborate together on putting together a picture made out of blocks. So they're trying to work together about how they're going to put the blocks together. The remote person can talk to him and move this green dot pointer, saying move this block here. The red dot is his eye gaze. So this is really important because the remote person can say move the block over here, and if the person's eye gaze isn't following where he's pointing, he knows the person isn't paying attention. And also at the bottom here we have a heart rate sensor and a face expression sensor as well. So as he starts changing face expressions, we can know what expression he's performing. So the overall message from this is that we can use the technology to provide implicit cues. So normally with a system like this, without the eye gaze tracker, you would have to watch.
So that's Mark Billinghurst, professor from University of South Australia, has been doing augmented reality for over 25 years. And again, the bottom line is that by using a bunch of sensors in this case, you're able to communicate much more information and achieve better collaboration in this simple task. Finally, sustainability. First, with all the teleportation and remote assistance that we talked about, you don't have to fly so many people around the world anymore. That saves a lot of energy. But more importantly, thanks to AR's ability to simulate things, we don't have to build so much stuff anymore. We can reduce energy consumption as a result and promote sustainability. So here are some examples. So this is a company called Cimagine, and they created a welding training system. So this guy has a VR or AR system on his face and a fake torch or arc. And what he sees is that he's actually welding for real. You can see in the screen. You can see how it will look in real life. So it can guide him on how to do the welding step by step. And of course, and you see it actually looks real, like it's getting cold as if a regular metal would do. And then of course it can track this data, replay it, and the instructor can see the improvement over time and basically improve the training process significantly. So it shows you don't always need to build all this stuff. You don't need so much hardware. You can simulate the whole experience. And here's another example from Caterpillar.
While I'm looking through them at the real world.
So this is an actual Caterpillar truck.
It allows our customers the ability to customize the human-machine interface. So the way I like to try to describe this to someone who doesn't understand machines is, think about your car. I left you the steering wheel and the gas pedal and the brake pedal. Everything else we took away. We got rid of the dashboard, we got rid of the radio, we got rid of the HVAC controls, we get rid of the windshield wiper controls. All of the electronics disappear. And then when you put on the augmented reality headset, all that interface, all that functionality, all reappear. So now the physical electronic components are gone, but the capability of you to do those and then see that information is still there.
So obviously the benefit of this is that you don't have to build all this stuff. It's much more adaptable over time. You can change things and even customize it per person without the need to build everything and test it. The last example is actually from retail. And people go to a website to try to buy furniture for their home. With this type of application, which by the way, it's a company that was acquired by Snapchat, you can actually visualize furniture, a chair, or whatever in your home before you buy it, as if it's really there. You can change the color, the position, you can share it with your spouse, and make a much better decision. And this has shown that it increases the conversion rate of someone going to the website and buying by more than 50% over regular users. And again, once you have this, you have less returns. Maybe even you don't have to build so much of the stuff to support this kind of retail experience. So this is how we use sensors and AR to change the world. We drive economic growth, democratize access to knowledge and health to anyone, anywhere out there, while increasing empathy and sustainability. And by the way, sustainability is not about protecting the environment. Earth is fine, and it will be here long after humans are gone. It's really about protecting our future. Neil Harbison, you know Neil Harbison? The first cyborg, born colorblind and implanted an antenna sensor in the back of his head so he can hear colors. So he says that we should design ourselves instead of designing the environment. And I concur. If you think about what's humanity's #1 skill, take a look at this guy. What sets him apart from all living things? I think it's our incredible ability to adapt. From the tallest mountains to the depth of the sea to deserts and the Arctics, humans were amazing at adapting. And now, we are about to take matters into our own hands. Harari pontificates in his book, Homo Deus, that we'll have to use bioengineering to transform into the next species. And it's probably inevitable. Kurzweil predicts, wait, what? He looks even younger than 2 minutes ago. He predicts that by the 2030s, we'll connect our neocortex to the cloud. And also means that we will start integrating sensors into our bodies. I guess that has already started. And Elon Musk says that we have to bioengineer ourselves or machines will make us obsolete by the time we're hit by the singularity. So in the meantime, before we become cyborgs, we need augmented reality. So I'm asking the tech gods of tech. I stand here before some of the best crowd in the tech kingdom, and I ask you, give us a couple of decades with wearables and AR. Allow us to gradually evolve through our natural senses by using external sensors and augmenting our experience. Let us enjoy AR, say, until 2030. Is it too far? How about 2029? 2029 it is. Deal. And until then, everyone will be able to use augmented reality to experience reality in a more meaningful way. And with you, the super sensors and the AR community, nothing can stop us. We can change the world. So remember, it's about driving economic growth, bringing knowledge and health to anyone, anywhere, empathy and sustainability to the people. Now, let's go and change the world. Thank you. Have a great show. time for a few questions.
Yes, I'm kind of curious. Do you see any military application of augmented reality?
Absolutely. In fact, I haven't mentioned that, but AR was invented in 1968. But most of us haven't heard about it until just recently. And in fact, it was hidden in labs and the military for many years. It's been used in defense. You know, pilots have been using it. Other systems. So I think they're definitely ahead of the curve. We've even seen it in soldiers that are fighting in urban areas where it's a very complex thing to do, and with a headset you can actually get a better sense of who's a friend, who's a foe. So the answer is absolutely yes, and I think they're kind of all over it the past couple of decades.
Great, thanks.
Some people have the impression that wire harnesses are an easy build. They're not. There are literally thousands and thousands of wire, typically in a manned craft or a commercial airliner.
When we first started this program, we had paper.
All the routing instructions came printed out on a big phone book, and the employee had to use a ruler to keep their place, look up, look down, look back, etc.
Then we kind of went away from that. We started pulling up our information on the laptops.
But looking at the laptop on a constant basis, your eyes are adjusting constantly. So by the end of the day, you've got a raging headache.
You have to stop what you're doing, go to the keyboard. You know, you're always kind of looking back and forth. You do kind of lose your train of thought at times. You're like, oh, did I really just see what I saw? And you have to type it up again.
We have anywhere from 3 wires, 4 wires, to 90, 100 wires to go into one connector. So every little bit of technology really does help.
Start wire bundle. Scan order.
We look for the big changers. Wearables, as an example, is what we would call a step function change. Rather than picking up seconds or minutes, step function change gives us an opportunity to cut the build time by 25%.
Okay, Skylight, local search 0550.
We realized we had voice command. And that was huge. Now you have 2 hands on the product the whole time. You don't have to take anything off.
Once you put them on, you'll say, Skylight. It'll show you on the diagram, and then you'll take the wire and you'll just pop it in, fast as heck.
You know, there's video streaming. If you have an issue, they can see it from their laptop or wherever because you're streaming it through your glasses. Then you can store it. Anytime you pull up that assembly, they could actually watch the video and say, okay, I need to build it like this. This is what the final product should look like.
Okay, Skylight, local search 186A.
What's the room for error in what you do?
There is no room for error. The final product, we have to send it out 100%. Could be your family, military. You can't pull over if something goes wrong, you know.
The harness that you're building gives the pilot visibility at night. The harness that you're building gives him safety visibility if something should go bad.
You know, you always want to have first-time quality. With the wearable, you always know where that wire is going to go. My team's a wonderful team to work with, and we're all very proud of our end product.
Skylight and video.